So in this video, we will discuss camera composition, commonly used in architectural visualization rendering. Here, we'll show you some examples, various types of composition and techniques commonly used in architectural rendering. Alright, let's start with this one. This one is a must when you're rendering architectural visualizations. The use of a two-point perspective is highly important. This two-point perspective, as you can see in this image, has two vanishing points. These 2 points represent the perspective and make your image more upright. This perspective aligns with the red lines, creating a more upright image. It's crucial to use this when you have angled elements in your visualization, because architectural visualization should look clean and tidy. As you can see in the image on the right, it looks good when we use a two-point perspective or two vanishing points. Now, let's see how it looks in Enscape. In this section, there are different perspective modes: perspective, two-point, and orthographic. If your image is not vertically aligned, it's not in two-point perspective. It will look less clear and less organized for compositions like this. That's why we should use the two-point perspective. This way, our buildings will appear more upright and clean. However, if you're in a high-angle position like this, the two-point perspective won't work. This position is above the two-point perspective, so the two-point perspective mode does not apply here. Using it will distort our image. In this case, it's better to switch to the perspective mode. It will look better and won't distort the building area. The same goes for aerial positions like this. Just turn off the two-point perspective option. Alright, next is the second one, the rule of thirds. If you've ever operated a camera, you'll usually find default settings for grid lines, like this, or the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is very helpful for composition. As an example in the image on the left, the subject is positioned perfectly thanks to the assistance of the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds acts like a guide in our camera composition, or in our rendering viewport. It also helps to determine the position of the horizon line. Compared to not using the rule of thirds, it can be challenging for those who are not accustomed to it. Next, let's look at the example on the right. Here, there's a classic building. It also applies the technique mentioned earlier, the two-point perspective. This makes the image appear more upright. The contrast and beauty of the building are more pronounced, and it makes our composition look more organized. Thanks to the two-point perspective and the rule of thirds. Now let's switch to Enscape. Unfortunately, in photo mode, there's no option to show the rule of thirds or grid lines. However, don't worry, we can still create the rule of thirds. By using the video editor, we can display grid lines or the rule of thirds. So we can show the grid lines when we want to capture it. We can do this in the video editor, where we can display grid lines or the rule of thirds. So we can show the grid lines when we want to capture it. Here, we're not sure where to capture it. Let's switch to View Management. In View Management, you can directly create a view. Don't click on anything except Create View. Then, rename your view. After that, create, and your composition will align with the rule of thirds. If we check again, it's already aligned. Okay, let's move on to the next composition. Here, the third one is leading lines. For those who are new here, this may sound unfamiliar. Basically, leading lines are lines that guide our eyes as if looking directly at a subject in our photo or point of interest. One example is in this photo. The red lines on this elevator direct our eyes towards the subject, the person. The photographer wants to focus on the point of interest, the person in this case. So, they use the elevator's structure as leading lines to direct the audience's view towards the person, because the photographer wants to emphasize this person. On the right, there's also a spiral staircase. This spiral staircase also acts as leading lines, directing the audience's view towards the center. The photographer uses these leading lines to guide the audience's gaze towards the center. Now we have some points regarding leading lines in our composition. One of them is in this angle. The lines of the building also create an effect of leading lines. So this direction as well. The lines from this building also provide leading lines effect. Let's move on to the next composition. In this framing composition, we focus more on the point of interest. This tree, it's like guiding our eyes directly towards the tree in the center. And indirectly, even the grass is part of the framing as well. This coconut tree is part of the framing in this rendering. And also, we use the shadow as part of the framing. So this framing not only creates a frame for our composition, but also adds complexity. If we remove the coconut tree, it will look more flat. Now the fifth one is what we call symmetry. This is the picture of the Taj Mahal. Here, we also have leading lines. So our eyes are directly focused on the subject, the Taj Mahal. And it's also symmetrical. If we see, the center line is balanced on both sides. And this is the same as well. We can also use symmetry here to make our image look cleaner and neater. We have leading lines, symmetry, and two-point perspective. Okay, next here we have something called negative space. So, for those who don't know what negative space is, the subject or point of interest is our positive space. So what we want to show or the information within our composition. What is being emphasized is the positive space area, which is the building. And negative space is usually the sky and the environment. As we can see, the sky is part of the negative space, and this building is the positive space. And here, the interior has contrasting colors with the wall color, so it gives the effect that our eyes are directly focused on the point of interest, or the information that the photographer wants to convey to the audience, which is to see the room design. So it looks more contrasting when we use this negative space technique. This white concrete is negative space, and this furniture area is positive space. The scenes in our landscape are the same. The most dominant color is blue, which is the sky. The sky is the negative space. And the grass is also negative space. So our eyes are directly focused on this building.